This is the Discovery Sheng-Teng fixed wing drone. It is a polystyrene drone, but it is a drone that you might want to get if you're thinking of trying out a fixed wing. With a length of 1.2 meters and a wingspan of almost 1.5 meters, this drone is a really big drone and it's going to make for a lot of fun during the flight. It's important to note that whilst these drones are fun, fast, and lightweight, which are three huge pros with a drone, there are a few cons which you can't overlook them. We have to dive into the cons of these aircrafts as well as the pros, so there's ups and downs. You guys get to decide if you want this drone at the end. Stick through the video to see all the specs coming up, to see what I'm going to say about the drone. I'm an instructor. I've instructed using this drone. I have some serious knowledge to depart, so I'm going to be doing that in this video. So the first thing that you're going to notice, these cables go everywhere. If you want a neat interior of your drone, you are going to have to put the effort in using cable ties, wires, and possibly sellotape to make it look nice and pretty. Whilst this polystyrene is robust, it does handle crashes well. Fact is, it does crash a lot. You can see by this model here that we've lost a few parts of our drone from crashes, and that's just the way that the news goes. When it comes to this drone, you're gonna have to be ready to buy second-hand parts or buy additional first-hand parts, and you're also gonna have to learn how to actually craft, okay? You're gonna have to learn how to put parts on, replace propellers, possibly replace the landing gear. You might even need to do things like take apart the polystyrene and put it back. So be aware of all of that. If we're talking about packaging, this comes in a giant box. You're not going to be transporting this thing around in this box. You're most likely going to have it separate from the box. The box is just too cumbersome, okay? It's just too big a thing to throw in a car. Whereas the plane, at least it might be a wide plane, so there is that, the transport issue of it being a little bit big. However, the box itself is way worse than the aircraft. Because remember, the wings can come off, so you can just put them side by side. When it comes to understanding your aircraft, the manual here for this model is a very good manual. Normally, these fixed-wing aircrafts don't have good manuals, but luckily this Discovery model, this ST Sheng-Teng model, does indeed have a decent manual. Another side note, any decorations on this aircraft will be provided to you, but you have to actually stick them on. So what comes in the box when you buy this aircraft? Well, the first thing you need to know is that the fuselage and everything else is separate. It's your job, it's your duty to assemble it all, but it's a nice, easy process. It's not that you're building this aircraft. One of the things you do consistently, which is put the wings on and tighten them down. You then have the option whether you want to take it apart when you travel around with it. So you'll get the fuselage as well as the wings. You'll get the wing connectors as well. You'll get some tools. You'll get some instructions. You'll get a manual. You'll get everything that you think that you'll get. But there's a couple more things you might get as well. The first thing that you might get is the decals. So these are just the stickers to make your aircraft look nice. The next thing that you might get, depending on your aircraft and wherever you buy it, you might get some cables that'll assist you. You might even get so lucky as to get a controller, a remote control inside your box, but that's unlikely. Usually with these fixed-wing aircraft, you have to buy a remote control separate. We will cover remote controls coming up though, so stay tuned. Now let's talk about some pros of the aircraft, some very big pros. First thing is when it comes to speed, the speed of the aircraft, you're looking at about 5 to 10 meters a second. Of course, it can go much faster than this, but I would say that that's a rough estimate when it comes to environment conditions as well. You're then also looking at the environment itself. Winds of 5 meters is where I would stop. This thing has wind resistance of 6 to 8 meters, but no, you can see the results of that, the crashes and stuff. Our drone doesn't look good. So we need to keep it to about 5 meters a second winds and gusts of 10 meters a second. And when it comes to your battery life of the drone, an 11.1 volt battery, which is what we use, you then will be looking at a flight time of about 8 to 10 minutes. As for the drone itself, if you are learning fixed wing or you're training fixed wing, this and one other model, which we'll do a review on later on, those are the two that I recommend for training and for learning purposes. This one in particular has its own stabilization and auto calibration processes. If you want to know more about those, go onto YouTube, check them out. Or once you buy the drone, it'll be there in the manual, the processes which you get to follow. It is also a drone that is very easy to assemble, and it is very lightweight. Even though it is long, it is lightweight, so it makes it easier to transport despite the space that it takes up. For the wings, they attach and detach easily using a screwdriver and the wing connectors. If you're lucky, you get the screwdriver included. If not, you can always use a pair of keys. In a pinch, they always seem to do the job. The batteries will need to be bought separately. I'll leave links below for you to make the finding of the right batteries easier for you. But essentially, this can handle any battery as long as it can actually fit into that tight compartment, the battery compartment on the front of the aircraft. This compartment, by the way, usually has a latch. Ours, of course, was lost during a crash. The wheels are a hardened polystyrene material with possible hints of rubber as well. The landing gear is durable, although it might be the first to go in a crash, considering you have to assemble it onto your aircraft. As for the actual body of the aircraft, it's also a hardened polystyrene, but it does not resist wind and it breaks easily upon any sort of heavy impact or collision. It does, however, make it easier to fix in a pinch upon crash, which is likely to occur regardless of what fixed wing you're flying. It's easy enough to fix it up because it's made of foam. You can literally assemble, get other bits of foam, and assemble what you need to as you need to. This Discovery that you see, which is in terrible shape, we could very easily fix it up and go and fly it again. On to the remote control. This drone doesn't have a specific remote, but I would highly suggest going ahead and checking out this, what you see on screen now. This is the control that we use with these drones. We also have a baby control. And the best part about getting both of these is that you can connect them using a cable to allow instant takeover if you need to for training purposes. You're just going to use the provided instructional materials to help you connect to your drone, and it will then stay connected forever until you decide to take it off and put a different remote control onto that drone. So my final thoughts on the Discovery. It's definitely versatile for training purposes. It's also easy enough to learn how to actually fix this thing. And it's also fun to assemble. Plus the manuals actually teach you how to do that. The only cons with this thing is that it's not good for wind and it doesn't go very fast. But that's not really cons if you look at the grander scheme of things. That's not special or specific to this aircraft. Any aircraft designed like this is gonna struggle with the wind. For the aircraft itself, it's a really good drone. It's a lot of fun to fly as well. And for those who are really starting out, you know that fixed wing is difficult. It's a very, very easy drone. When it comes to things like auto stabilization, this is the one that shines. You will need a lot of batteries if you want to actually have a day out flying this drone. In that case, you'll also need a battery bag. I do have links in the description there for you. Also, please bear in mind that these batteries will usually need a machine like you see on the screen now in order to actually be able to charge them. You also might need to get your own remote controls. Again, links in the description there for you, as well as links to anything else that you might need. Remember to subscribe and click the notification bell. We release videos every Friday, South African time, 4 p.m. Next week video is going to be a studio microphone. Stick around for that one. I'll see you in it.